Órale, Cholo Trucker here, Los Tres Chingones Boxing. Hang on, let me move this just a little bit over. Shouts to all the Chingones. Y Chingonas. David Contreras is still on assignment. He'll be here next week. El Cirujano couldn't make it. He had a couple of things he had to do, but we do have our Tejano brother from Putazos y Pendejadas, one Mr. Mark Anthony.
How you guys doing? Thank you once again, Mr. Cholo Truck, for having us on.
Hey, man, I'm glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you're here. I'm very excited for this weekend, man. And we have our inside man here for a few minutes. So we're going to try to squeeze everything we can out of him for this weekend's fight, man. Let's go ahead and bring in my buddy, one Mr. G Funky.
What's happening, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure to have you on, big dog. And I can't wait to meet you in person tomorrow, man.
Yeah, it should be fun, man. I'm glad that you got credentialed and you're able to get in here, man.
Yeah, for sure. It should be good. It should be good. So, look, there's a lot of news in boxing, but G Funky, you're a busy man. You're there. You're actually in the hotel where the fighters are staying. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm here right now in the lobby, stealing their Wi-Fi. But yeah, we just got out of our fighter meeting with the Zone commentary team for tomorrow night's show. An unfortunate thing happened with the co-main event. I'm sure you all know Joseph Diaz was pulled from the card because he can't make weight, and they could not find a last-minute opponent for Ricky Medina Jr. So that fight got pulled, but that bumped our fight from the preliminary stage on the YouTube channel to the now we're going to be opening the DAZN broadcast. So we're excited for that.
I saw that in the weigh-ins today. So for those who don't, we're talking about the Alexis Rocha versus Giovanni Santillan fight tomorrow in Inglewood. And the crazy thing about it is, G Funky, one of you guys that you've been working with, he's in the card. And I saw that you reached out to me yesterday, told me that Jojo Diaz was pulled from that. Mark, let me go ahead and ask you, man. Jojo Diaz was, I think, over 10 pounds yesterday from making the weight. What's your thought on Jojo Diaz, man? Is Jojo Diaz done? Is this it for him? Like, this isn't the first time he hasn't made weight.
No, you're right. This is not the first time that this has happened with Jojo Diaz. And yeah, I think they're going to give him the axe from this point. He was already kind of developing the mindset of an opponent, over the last couple of years. And I know that they wanted Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield, to fight him next year to kind of give Schofield a veteran and a name on his record to help boost him, to become a contender possibly. But yeah, I don't think that's going to happen now. I think they're done with Jojo Diaz. I really do think that, and that's unfortunate, man. He's just, it is what it is.
Okay, Mark, what's your thoughts on Jojo Diaz?
I agree with G Funky. I think they're probably done with him. I think they were probably done with him a while back. It's been a while. I'm guessing it's his friendship with Oscar De La Hoya that keeps him in there. But other promoters, other people going against him don't want to go against him. But he seems to have a good position with Golden Boy. He seems to have a good position on TV with some of these people broadcasting. He's favored in some of them areas. So they keep him active. I think the favoritism on the fighting side is going to end already because they see he's not committed. They're doing him a favor in this sense, and he's not even putting his effort into it. So I think as a fighter, he's completely done. Don't think we're going to see the end of him broadcasting and doing little things here and there for Golden Boy, because the reason they've been keeping him along and dragging him is because he's always a name to fill in there for fights, but they're not going to do that with him anymore.
Okay. Okay.
He's
Yeah.
an
For
extra
those who
check
don't,
as well, and that check is gone now.
yeah, for those who don't know, Jojo Diaz was cut from this card, and his opponent was as well. It's unfortunate. He since last
Yeah.
night he was way overweight, so he's not going to be fighting tomorrow. G Funky, I'll be there tomorrow, buddy. But what is the atmosphere right now, man? What's going on around Inglewood? What's going on around the Western Forum? You're there at the hotel where the fighters are staying. What's the atmosphere right now like, man? Does it have that fight feel?
Oh, yes, indeed, man. There's a lot of people here. I did an interview earlier with Zordo. He's here
Right,
because his stablemate Scrappy Ramirez is on the co-feature now,
right,
and
right.
Scrappy's a great guy, man. I talked with him a little bit here. He's very flashy, very flamboyant,
Mhm.
very outspoken, and he's an entertaining fighter. And I told him, I say, hey, man, we need guys like you in boxing right now. The state of boxing is not very good. You need stars, man. So I said, continue to do your thing, man. And he's like, yep, for sure. I mean, Miguel Cotto is here because one of his fighters is on the card as well. Um, there's a lot of names here for this event. So it definitely has got a big fight feel to it. And man, I'm excited. I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, man. And it was kind of a blessing in disguise for you. I did see you post a picture of you and Miguel Cotto. I gotta tell you, man. Look, shout outs to Miguel Cotto, man. But he's looking a little rough, man. He's looking a little bit rough, man. Shout outs to the Puerto Rican icon, man, the living legend, Miguel Cotto. Hey, G Funky, what has changed for you guys now that you guys are going to be on the actual The Zone card? Has anything changed? Uh, whether it's pay wise, whatever it may be, how they're slating you on the card now, how they're treating you guys, has anything changed?
The only thing that I know of that has changed so far is just what we had to do right now, which was the fighter meetings with the commentary team.
Mhm.
They, of course, they want information so they could say little things here and there about the fighters in the ring, and they asked us about that, and Joe Sean James, he's excited. He's ready to put on a show. He's ready to showcase his skills to everybody watching on the big platform tomorrow night.
Okay, okay. Mark, you got any questions, man, for G Funky?
Yeah, what is Scrappy? Did you get any interaction with that guy? That has a great story. I believe he started boxing at about 20 years old or something like that, and now he's up for a. Is he up for a world title? Is that what he's up for? Or is he up for a fight to position himself for one?
I think
I
he's
think his
getting.
name is Limiter.
I think he's getting close to that real soon. And I like the kid, man. I enjoyed his fights, watching him on TV. But now that I'm here talking with him in person, and very good guy, man. Very good guy. And like I said earlier, we need guys like Scrappy, man.
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
great story, man. He only started fighting at 20, and I think now I don't know how old he is now. It's been a few years later, but he's a he's a guy who started really late. He had other sports under him, but here he is in position, I believe, to put himself. If he wins here, I believe he's in position to get a world title. I saw an interview with ES News, Ellie Sekback, maybe about a month ago. There, he was getting prepared for this fight. He was in a sauna, and they did the interview right there. Man, that guy ES News, he's everywhere, right in a freaking sauna. Pero yeah, that's amazing to start at 20 years old and then look the way he looks. You would think he started just like everybody else, but Scrappy, man, I'm looking for big things for him from him on Saturday. I'm definitely going to watch this card.
Yeah, and
Hey,
the
hey,
energy.
give me 1 second, brother. I might have something for you right here. Just give me one
Oh,
second,
that'd
okay?
be cool, man. All right, all right.
This guy, man, G
That-
Funk, he's gonna show. I bet you it's something big.
Yeah, man. So what he's been working with his fighter, and I remember he reached out to me and he's all like, "Hey, we're gonna try to get him on this Golden Boy card." And lo and behold, he did, but he was supposed to,
Wow.
but his fighter originally was gonna fight on the YouTube prelims, not on the zone. It was gonna be on YouTube the zone, but the prelims. But since Jojo Diaz, you know, he got scratched because he didn't make weight. Boom, that whole fight is done.
So
So
he's
they went
gonna be
ahead.
on TV.
So now he's gonna be on the actual DAZN card, man. So that
Well,
that's
so
that's
he'll be like on the prelims at least on,
he'll be on the undercard, man. So it's gonna be good,
awesome.
man. That's it was a blessing in disguise for G Funky, man.
All right, I got something here for you guys. This
Oh man, let me see.
Ricky Medina Jr. This was supposed to be
Ah,
Jojo Diaz's opponent. So
right,
here it is,
right.
guys. You guys want to ask him a couple questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, Ricky, my man.
Yes,
So
sir.
you're supposed to fight Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz is a pretty popular fighter, man. The guy's a warrior. I don't really know what's going on with him. Everybody's kind of upset. It's like, hey, this isn't the first time this guy doesn't make weight, but I think everybody ignores the opponent. How much hard work did you put into this fight? And getting that news that, "Hey, you know what? We can't find a replacement for you. You're just not fighting." I mean, take us a little bit through that, man.
I mean, yeah, it was real disappointing. I moved my camp to. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. Born and raised. So I do all my training there. With my family and everything like that. So we moved my camp to Las Vegas with Jorge Capatillo. So I was out there for a little over a month. Doing my training camp. Away from my family. Dedicating my life to the sport. Respecting the sport and I put a lot into it. My family did. Being away. I even spent October 14th. I just turned 23. I spent my birthday over there. Just training, dieting. Doing what I have to do. So, that's what it was more disappointing about that. I mean, I know Golden Boy did everything they could. To find me a replacement. They were working hard, but it was kind of a last minute thing. So, not everything works out, but at the end of the day, that boxing's a business and stuff like that happens. But hopefully, we could hop on the December 2nd card, the Ryan Garcia card. So that's what's in the works now.
Is that the goal? Is that the goal for you and your camp to say like, "Hey, we're ready to go right now. Whatever you got coming up, throw me in there," or are you guys gonna be selective? Like, well, don't just throw us in anywhere. Get us into a good card that makes sense.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Like this was a big step up, a big opportunity. I was grateful for this opportunity, but at the same time, you want to be smart, make the right decisions, stay patient. So we're doing a little bit of both, but I mean, they said hopefully December 2nd they could, just because of everything had happened, they would help me out, get me on the card.
Yeah, I want to pass it to Mark, man, but let me ask you this. Is there any incentive to you, dog? Is there any money that comes your way? This isn't your fault. The booking was there. You were ready to fight. Your opponent didn't make weight. The fight gets scratched. You put in all the hard work. Is there anything in the contract that says like, hey, you know what? If your opponent doesn't make it for whatever reason and we have to scratch it, we pay you at the very least traveling costs. Is there anything, or is that all out of your own pocket?
Uh, right now it's in the talks. We're
Mm.
trying to work on. I think we're supposed to head home Sunday, but we're trying to head home early tomorrow. So I think that's the plan. But I think today, is a lot of, a lot of talks, a lot of negotiations and stuff like that. See what we could do. See, the best. Well, whatever we could get out of it, we'll take for sure. But that it's just all in the talks right now, man.
Okay, okay, Mark. Any questions?
Yeah, yeah. Medina, how are you doing? I'm from Texas. I'm here in the
Good, man.
Rio
Good.
Grande Valley.
Oh, okay,
Congratulations
okay.
on all your success, Tejanos, man.
Appreciate you, man. Yes, sir.
Congratulations being out there on that Golden Boy card. We're here. We're pulling for you. Listen, to add on to Ed's comments there, it's got to be disappointing. All the work you put in here. You answered that. Now, as far as what comes next, so that you don't lose everything you put into it. We lost. Okay, so you
No,
don't
he's
lose
there.
everything you put into training and camp and all. Are there talks about maybe immediately getting you somebody and putting you on maybe in a couple of weeks, a month? That way you don't lose everything you put into it.
Yeah, man. I think just the next thing is December 2nd, like I said, and on the Ryan card in Houston right now. So I mean, if that
Yeah.
if that's what we could do, then we're grateful for we're grateful for anything that would come my way. Anything we could take.
Now,
Wherever it comes from.
a follow up to that, like Cholo asked, did they incentivize you for this trip? And if not, is there talks to incentivize you at least for that trip to make up for something on this side? You know what I mean? Are you going to leave? Is I guess what I'm saying is, are you going to leave here with something in hand?
Yeah, like I said, man, we're that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping, like I said, we can get whatever we can get, whatever we can take. Like I said, I'm just grateful to be here. Met some amazing people. Things happen behind closed doors. God works in mysterious ways. So we're just gonna continue to keep moving and just, like I said, whatever happens, happens, man.
Yeah,
May I
you
ask?
know,
May I ask what you weighed in at?
What I weighed in at,
Yes.
I had hit 134. What was it? Wednesday. So I had hit that weight. So I was just maintaining. Even all day yesterday, Thursday. While everyone was trying to figure out what we could do, I was just maintaining weight, seeing if anything pops up. So that's when they said no. So yeah, I was ready, man, maintaining
Yeah. Well,
weight.
that's hey,
okay.
that's a win right there, man. Hey, props to you, man. Tejano,
Appreciate that, man. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, sir.
I'll
Hey,
turn
hey,
it over to
Dave,
David.
hey, David, you got one question before we gotta let him go, man?
No, no, man. I just I'm sorry, dude. I feel bad for you, man. I know that a lot goes into those training camps, and when something like this happens, it's a real heartbreaker, man. So I just want to let you know, man. Like I feel for when fighters have to go through stuff like that because
Yeah,
of
man.
these circumstances.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. But I love the sport, so like I said, I'm gonna just continue to put my all into it. Just keep moving forward.
I got one last question, man, before we let you go, and I want to thank you so much, man, for giving us this time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where do you want to be this time next year? How many fights do you want under your belt? Is there any fights that you're looking forward to? Do you plan on still being in the same weight class this time next year? Like what is the future hold for one Mr. Medina?
Um, this time around next year, I would hopefully, be ranked higher for sure. I wanna, I want a world title shot in the future. That's my goal, just to fight for a world title. Um, I plan on going to 130. I feel more natural at 130 is my more natural weight. Like I said, the opportunity came up at 135. So sometimes you got to take a risk in the sport to be great. So that's what we were doing. But I plan on being at 130 for a good
Okay.
while for sure.
Okay. All right. Just one last thing, man. Just so
Yeah,
we could
guys.
end it right here. All right, man. Look, man. You look good. You look like you were in shape, man. Hey, honestly, man. Were you ready to whoop JoJo's ass?
Yeah, man. I mean, you go in prepared. You ready for war, man. I was ready to go. I know
Okay.
JoJo. At the end of the day, he's fought good people. He's a tough fighter. So I plan to go put in work all 10 rounds. I was ready to bring that fight for sure.
Hey, man. I think the future is pretty bright with guys like you in the sport of boxing, man. And highly appreciate you jumping on and giving us your time. And as boxing fans, man, our hearts go out to you, man. That sucks. Putting
Appreciate
all
that,
that
man.
time, all that effort, and then boom, your opponent just kind of blows it, man. So you know, hey man, good luck to you in the future. We'll definitely be watching your fights, man. So hopefully you get a good fight in a pretty big card, man. And hopefully this isn't a loss.
Yeah, man, appreciate y'all giving me all the time, you know, letting me speak my piece a little bit. But yeah, man, hope to see y'all soon, and God bless. Appreciate everyone.
Rocha or Santillan?
Oh, I got Rocha.
Thanks,
Okay.
Ricky. Appreciate
Yes,
you, man.
sir.
All right,
Appreciate
man.
y'all, man. I'll
Have a
see
good
y'all.
one,
Take
man.
care.
Good luck with your career, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, he was literally just sitting right there, and I looked over, happened to see him, and I said, "Let me see if I could get him on for these guys and talk about what happened." Yeah, he looks ready to me, man. He looked like he was ready to go. It was just JoJo Diaz.
That sucks, man. You know, everybody wants to trash the guy that doesn't make weight, but putting a little thought on your opponent and what he went through, man. David, what you just jumped on a little bit late, brother, but what's your thoughts on the Jojo Diaz fight not happening since yesterday? Because he was like over 10 pounds, man, of weight. What's your thoughts on that?
That's crazy. Like, you know, going in advance that you're having trouble making that weight. Like 10 pounds, that's pretty bad. And we're not talking about 2 or 3 or even 5. Hell, 10 pounds is crazy. So it's really unprofessional. I mean, I don't know the circumstances, you know.
You knew.
Obviously there's always 2 sides to a story, or 3, but that amount of weight it just sounds really crazy to me. So when I saw that text, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man. And again, it's the inconsideration for the other fighter.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, if it's not going to work out for you, at least try to let it or work out for the other guy. Because it doesn't just affect you, it affects other people.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, G Funky, I know you're limited on time, so let's go ahead and let's get to your fighter, man. Um, how's your fighter feeling? And tell us a little bit more about him. I'm not too familiar with him, man, other than what you've been telling me. And tell us a little bit about his opponent and what you guys expect tomorrow. Now that they're not in the prelims, they're in the actual undercard on the DAZN network, man.
Yes, sir. We're opening up the zone broadcast, and
Mhm.
it's going to be a good fight. David Stevens is very explosive, and he can punch. He's got power. That's why they call him Dynamite Stevens. He can punch. Uh, my guy is tall, rangy, fights behind an intelligent jab, and I think that's the key to winning this fight tomorrow night. But he feels good. You know, I was here this morning for the actual weigh-in, not the ceremonial weigh-in, but the real weigh-in, and I got a chance to speak to him briefly before he stepped on the scale, and he told me, "Look, I feel stronger than ever. This is the best I've ever felt going into a fight." And normally he fights at 160 pounds. This fight is at super middleweight. And, you know, he came in at 166. And as you guys can see, if you've seen the weigh-in this afternoon,
I did.
looks much bigger than Stevens. And he came in lighter. So we're looking to make a statement here because his last 3 opponents are all undefeated. He fought Javier Martinez, Robert Garcia's fighter, back in May. That was a really good fight. It ended up being a draw. And then he fought on Canelo's undercard, the very first bout of the whole event. And he felt like he should have got the win there, and they didn't. But he says, you know, that fight was so easy for him. That's why he took this fight on short notice. Like, I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to rumble, you know? As soon as I got the information from my guy that it was going to be David Stevens, it was going to be October 21st on a Golden Boy card, immediately he texted me back and said, let's do it. I'm all in. It's another undefeated guy. David Stevens is 13-0. And he's like, I don't care. I don't care what these guys' records are. I'm a fighter, and I'm ready to fight. And just like Ricky said when he was on with you guys, it was an opportunity, and he took it. And that's what a lot of fighters have to do. You have to take these kind of opportunities when they're presented to you on the big stage. And I anticipate we're going to take full advantage of that tomorrow night. It's going to be a good fight, guys. Don't miss it.
Hey, man, moving up in weight to fight an undefeated fighter on short-term notice. I mean, my hat goes off to you, man. So good luck to you guys, and I will be there. I am part of media tomorrow, so I'll definitely be there, man. G Funky, hey, man, Rocha or Santillan, brother?
Oh, that's a tough fight. I really like that matchup. It's a sensational style matchup. I think it's guaranteed to be fireworks. I'm going to favor Rocha because he's a southpaw. You know, the southpaws can present a lot of trouble to fighters. Uh, and I really like Rocha. I think he's got good power. and I'm going to slightly favor him in that one. But I anticipate it being a sensational fight, and I look forward to seeing you there tomorrow night, press row, man.
Yeah.
I seen my man Dimitro G in the chat. Hey, just hit me up, man, and we'll grab something, we'll grab a beer or something. And I'm glad I could get you guys Ricky Medina. Like I said, he's just sitting right there, right across the way. I figured I'd give him an opportunity to say his piece on the situation. And hey, only the real ones like you get this type of treatment, brother. All right.
Hey, G Funky, gracias so much for your time, man. And I can't wait to hang out with you tomorrow and watch what we love, man. Watch some good old boxing. So good luck to you guys, man. And I'll definitely be there watching and cheering on your fighter, man, as a fan as well.
Thank you, guys. Have a good show, and see you tomorrow.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Good to meet you.
Oh man, there he is, man. He got look, somebody's somebody's downfall was somebody else's blessing, man. He got blessed. They actually got to move up. David, what's going on, big dog?
Nothing, man. Just wrapping up some packing. Got a big move tomorrow. Moving from Manhattan to Brooklyn.
Dang.
So yeah, there's only two of us here, man, but there's a lot of stuff to move.
Taking the
mostly my ladies.
Taking the Tejano estilo all over New York, man. Dang,
yes,
man.
Yeah, man. Brooklyn's a cool place, man. It's a really cool borough of the city. I work there, so I know it pretty well. Or I know some places, and I like the vibe in Brooklyn.
Okay. All right. We'll be out in New York next year, man. Dodgers play the Yankees, so we're gonna go out there for all 3 games. So I'll be in touch. But
yeah, man, we gotta connect.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, so let's get to the show. That was just real quick because he only had a few minutes. And he's there. His fighter is gonna be fighting there. So let's go ahead and get into a couple of other things. We're gonna backtrack and go back to the fight that's gonna be taking place this weekend. But guys, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Tim Tszyu, the fight that happened over the weekend between Tim Tszyu against Brian Mendoza. What was your guys' thoughts? Tim Tszyu comes out with a unanimous decision, and I thought it was a good fight, man. But Tim Tszyu definitely won the fight. He is what? I forgot how old he is, but hey, man, he needed to make a statement. I thought he made a statement. The only bigger statement he could really make is just knocking him out, but he didn't do that. But Mark, I'll start with you, man. What's your thoughts on Tim Tszyu and what's left for him at 154 pounds?
You know what? I think he did make a major statement. He beat a Brian Mendoza that like I said, Mendoza was on a win streak. He had 4 in a row or 3 in a row knockouts against really, really good opponents too. You always want a good knockout streak, but when you have a good knockout streak against guys that were actually supposed to be something or something, like Mendoza did, and then Tszyu came out and made him. He didn't make him look bad either. It was a good scrap. He dominated him, yes. But that's a statement, beating a guy of Mendoza's caliber. That is a major statement. He won every single round. I believe not easily, but he won every round. And what's next for him? Gosh, who's out there at 154? But Charlo, who else is there for Tim Tszyu, man? I mean, at 154, I guess there's nobody. He's such a big star. It has to be Charlo. He's so big. There's nobody at that level with him. I mean, he is really, really big in Australia. People don't understand how big this guy is. It has to be Charlo because of how big he is and what he did. I mean, in Australia, these guys can make a lot of money, man. Mm-hmm. I'll give it out to you guys.
Okay. David, he is a big star in Australia. Is he a big star anywhere else? And what's your thoughts of the fight, man?
Well, first out, shout out to Brian Mendoza, man. That guy's got a chin. Tim Tszyu was laying it on him. I didn't get to see the whole fight live, so I caught up on some highlights. But Mendoza was doing well early. I thought he was in the fight and even won some rounds, but Tszyu took over the second half of the fight, and it was, man, Mendoza was taking some shots, bro. Like that man right there has got a chin, a lot of heart. That said, I think Tim Tszú's pretty much made a big statement in saying he's right up there at the cream of the crop at 154. I think you can't really deny the man's talent, and you can't deny that he's one of the better fighters in the division now. And Mark, I heard him say, I caught some of his post-fight interview, and he said he's not fighting in Australia anymore. He's coming to the U.S.
Right.
So he's coming over here now, and it's like all comers. Obviously, he wants Charlo. I question if that fight's even going to happen. I mean, unless there's like big money being thrown at them. Charlo just made something like upwards of $20 million with Canelo. For him to come down from 168 to 154 in his very next fight, it gives me pause. I'm thinking of Roy Jones when he went up to heavyweight, fought Ruiz, and then came right back down and fought Tarver. That was not good news for him, and it ended badly for him. Charlo may want another fight at 160 or something, or he may want to stay at 168. Obviously not 168. I take that back, because he was complaining about how he felt at that weight. So he's not going to come back at 168. But I could see him just going down to 160. Going back to 154 at his very next fight, to me, seems a little reckless. But Tim Tszyu, man, I don't know if he's going to get Charlo next, but I mean, 154 is stacked. The only problem with it is that they're very divided, right? Everybody's with different, a lot of fighters are with different promoters. And just taking a look at some of the rings rankings, you still got Liam Smith, who's fighting at 154. He's with DAZN, right? Or Matchroom. Mendoza, Tim Tszyu just took care of him. Fondora hasn't really fought. Huh?
Fendura's way out of it, yeah. It's hard to keep up because of the talent.
Lubin is probably the name.
That was the next name I was gonna say. And he's with UFC.
But even Lubin, does he match the fame?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So,
but I mean, it's a good, dip a foot in the pool in America type fight,
Yeah.
Here's Here's the thing, man. And shout outs to Joaquin, who used to step in the ring and throw chingazos, man. He said he sparred with Mendoza back in the day, man. So, yeah, Joaquin, man, that's a real one out of Albuquerque. Shouts to the 505. So, here's the thing. First of all, I like the fight. I like the matchup. Tim Tszyu did what he had to do. I'm with you, David. Credit to Mendoza. And I think Mendoza is getting some fans where they want to see him fight, right? So is he going to be going up from here? Maybe not like that in competition, but maybe he becomes something like a Josecito Lopez, right? Where it's like your fans want to see you fight. Why? Because you always bring it. That's it. You're going to have, 5, 6, 7, 8 losses. Pero fans want to see you fight. In a way, man, that's kind of a win for you. So as long as you bring it, like Josecito Lopez, like a couple of other guys, it's just like, hey, as long as you brought him. I think Mendoza is going to be okay, and he's going to have a pretty good career. I don't ever think he'll be the guy, but he'll be in some fights, man. As far as Tim Tszyu, look, man, if he leaves Australia, I don't think he makes the money that he's making in Australia. Does he sell some fights over here in the good old US of A? Yeah, somewhat, little, but nowhere near what you're getting in Australia. The only fight that I would say that's going to compare to the money that you're going to make in Australia is a Jermell Charlo. And I've said it before. That fight is not happening, man. And if I'm wrong, I would come on here and say I was wrong. But just like you said, David, I don't see him coming down back to 154. He doesn't even have all the titles anymore at 154. There's no reason. He made his biggest payday. He hasn't fought at 154 for a while. His last fight before Canelo was in the beginning of last year. So, maybe 160, but even at that, I don't think we see Jermell Charlo fight till maybe summer of next year. And I don't think he goes back down to 154. It sucks for Tim Tszyu because Tim Tszyu wants the fights, but he's not gonna get it because Jermell is not gonna want it. And I think Tim Tszyu right now is the best guy at 154. So I don't think anybody. I think there's some good matchups, but I don't think there's big money fights for him in America. So
How
he
old is
might
he?
come.
Xander Zayas. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's what I
top
was gonna
rank.
say. How
It's
old is
top
he?
rank. It's top
Because
rank, but
if say Charlo leaves, that's not a bad thing either because he could probably win these belts. Hang on with him for a while. Then you got your Zayas is coming in. A bigger Boots coming in. Then you've got some big fights if he can win and hang on. But how old is he?
If
28.
Xander's
He's 28.
he's
He's
28.
28. If he can win and hang on a few years, you got Xander Zaya, Boots coming up. I
If
mean,
look, if Xander Zayas can keep on racking in a couple of wins and they make this fight in New York, then there's some money for him there. Yeah, there's some money for him there. But outside of that, I don't see money there for him, man. Especially him being used to be treated like a superstar out in Australia. He said, "Come over here, and it's gonna be a culture shock. You're not a superstar out here, Holmes." So, but
Yeah.
well, I like Tim Tszyu, man. Hey guys, let's move on and let's talk about the fight. Astros. Why do you gotta throw that out there, Holmes? Why do you gotta throw that out there? Anybody
man,
but
they won late, man. Chinga.
anybody but them.
I left at the bottom of the eighth. I got on, and they had just beamed Adolis Garcia.
Hey, another event that you guys were in was the Yanni Beck fight, man. Talk to us a little bit about that. I'll start with you, David. Reports came out that it was pretty dead in there, that there was a lot of empty seats. I saw it on TV. I was able to see some empty seats, but maybe I had to be there to see it, man. Look, I enjoyed the main event. I thought Yanni Beck did what he had to do. I thought it was look, man, just for it being on ESPN, where it's not ESPN Plus, you don't have to pay anything. Sure, why not, man? And not only that, but I think Yanni Beck is actually a damn good fighter. He just doesn't have the star power behind him. But David, you were there, man. What did you see?
yeah, I think it would be a stretch to say it was 75% full there, right, Mark? There were actually no, there were only 3 sides to the arena, really.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 of them were all right, kind of filled in, and then there was one side that was really pretty blank. So you can do a lot of good things with camera angles to hide that stuff. So it's a shame too. It's a nice venue. That Epicenter, the Fort Bend Epicenter, it's a nice venue. There's not a bad seat in the house for a boxing match, but the folks didn't really come out, and that's a testament to the main event not having very well-known fighters. Like, you got a dude from Kazakhstan and another guy from Germany fighting in Rosenberg, Texas. It was just,
in Texas, man.
Yeah, man. It was a trip. I think the story of the event were the undercard fights. We had a lot of prospects that shined and got tested, and there were some really good fights on that undercard and in the prelims. So just being there, covering, being at press row and seeing a lot of those fights early on in the day, that was good. And that was really, you get to see a lot of these guys develop, and in development fights, Top Rank's really good at matching up their young talent. So there were a lot of good fights on the undercard. As far as Yanni Beck goes, he does look like the real deal to me. I think before the fight, I gave, what was the guy's name? Gultieri, a little bit too much credit. I thought he was going to put up a better fight than that. But as soon as you saw him in there with Yanni Beck, you could see that this was a level that he was not used to at all. He was clearly outmatched and outgunned. Yanni Beck is a big dude. He's really tall for the middleweight division as well. And getting a really good look at him up close, he had it all, man. He had the counters. He was setting up shots. He was setting up that left uppercut. He's a southpaw. He had a left uppercut, and he was setting it up. He wasn't just throwing it on a whim. So you could tell that he has some smarts. You can tell that he has speed. He has good, solid power. And you're right. The only problem is the guy doesn't have that star charisma or the personality to really get himself known. Unfortunately, that's kind of how it is. He's just going to have to grind them out and just beat people consistently for a long time if he wants to get known in the U.S.
Yeah. Mark, you were there, man. Yanni Beck, 30 years old, 15 wins, 10 by knockout. He looked really damn good. But there's two fighters from across the pond. Your favorite, man. Talk to us.
Hey, yeah, it was wasn't sold out. Yeah, it was very few people there. There was a lot of people. I don't even know what flag that was. That's so bad. But where were they from? Where were they from? The blue flag, Dave. The
That's
blue flag.
Kazakhstan, right?
That okay, man. There was a lot of Kazakhstan people there. I don't know what continent that's from.
Asia.
Russia.
Asia.
Well, yeah.
That's your number. That's your number 4, right, Mark?
Thing is, it's tough out there. 10% of Russia is considered Asia. 10%. The other half is maybe where these guys are from, because maybe this dude is from that 10% in Asia, because this guy can box, man. He is fast. Tiene una velocidad, bro. Hijo de su, man. Quick, fast. Like, just quick, dude. Like, and the step back with the quick uppercut, the left, dude. That's the one that knocked out the previous guy. But better. What was his name? Butler, dude.
Butler.
Madre, güey. Pero bien bonito, güey, por todos lados. O sea, like, he'll step back with it, boom, he'll come in with it, fast, quick, pinche velocidad, güey, fuerte. Y tiene un pinche box bien bonito, güey. I don't think he's from Europe, bro. He's fucking.
He's not. Asia.
El vato está desgraciado, bro. Yeah, it's that 10% that's from Asia, güey.
I don't know, bro. I'll take that back. It might be Eastern Bloc.
Hijo de su madre, güey. He has some influence from Asia, because el vato, güey, bien crisp, dude. He's fucking good, bro. Y pinta todo bonito, no wasted punches. Everything is tag. Here you go. If he had paint on his shit, it just all over the guy's body, way. Just beautiful, man. The guy and the fighting backwards, dude. The setting him up. Stepping backwards, setting him up, going backwards, dude, with the uppercut. That is a vicious uppercut. He's gonna be good at that division for a long time, man. I don't know. I enjoy watching him. I didn't think that fight was boring at all. And he's borderline. We got to check on this shit. We need Yoda, David Contreras, to come in here and tell us what continent this man is from. So, we're just gonna. I'm not even gonna Google. We're gonna ask DC cuando viene para atrás. We need that guy to confirm where this guy's from, because I'm not convinced he's a Euro Estato. He is bad. He's badass. He's gonna be badass for a while. He's only 30, but he doesn't take punishment. The last 2 fights, he's been so fucking impressive, man. Pues tu madre, tiene un estilo bien chulo.
But I got your answer, Mark. It's actually both. Kazakhstan lies a little bit in Eastern Europe and Asia, Central Asia.
So he must be on the Asian side. Wait, El vato, fuck, bro. He's sharp, way sharp, vato.
He looked really good, man. All his punches looked crisp. They looked clean. It didn't look like he was wasting any punches. They all had meaning. He looked really good, man. I really enjoyed the fight. Now, here's the thing about him. I think it's gonna be hard getting him opponents. I think he's gonna keep on fighting opponents like this, because I don't think anybody's gonna want to get in the ring with them, man. It's unfortunate. They gotta do with him what they did with Triple G. Triple G came over here and immediately they made him, Mexican. They made him raza. They made him like, oh yeah, man. He's like the Mexican Kazakhstani or something like that. They got to do something with him to market him a little bit better. And they are running a little bit out of time. He's 30. He's not old, but he's not young either. You got to start marketing this guy a little bit better. There's not a lot of money to fight this guy, but there's a heck of a lot of risk. So they really got to do something with him. So we'll see what happens, man. And at 160, look, as it stands right now, at 160 pounds, I think he's right now. I think he's the best at 160 pounds. You got Islandy Lara up there. You still got Jamal Charlo up there for whatever that means. But right now, I would favor him.
Oh, yeah, ese
Over
güey le pone
anything.
una putiza a cualquier cabrón ahí, güey.
Yeah.
Dan
Yeah,
Charlo.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think so too, regardless of how Charlo looks, because when he comes back, I mean, is it official that he's still fighting Jose Benavides?
It looks like that's going to happen at a catch weight of 164 pounds.
Wow. So
So
even if that
yeah,
goes down, what does that win tell us about Charlo, right? Like he's fighting
yeah,
a blown up super lightweight.
yeah.
Benavides was 140. So Charlo is the biggest name at 160 if he does go back. I mean, he hasn't let go of the title, so I'm assuming he
I
will.
don't think he'll go back to 160.
Yeah, popularity wise, he's the biggest name. Yes,
Right.
popularity wise.
So
So
that's the fish you got to catch. You got to put the bait out and try to make that happen. And
yeah, if you can.
And maybe these new deals that PBC is trying to negotiate with whatever streaming service they're going to end up with, maybe that's going to be part of the thing. Like you can't pick and choose your fighters anymore. We buy fight. Remember how Showtime?
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Showtime used to do that, man. They used to
get to that story.
They used to do that where they would buy fights and not fighters. They would get into the fights. So it may be wherever they land, that happens, and then you have to force fighters to fight each other. So
okay, before we get into that fight, let's just talk about this. I'm sorry. Before we get into that story, let's get into this fight real quick, man. Because it is a fighter that I was a pretty big fan of. But there is another fight going on tomorrow between Jack Catterall and Jorge Linares across the pond. Linares, I mean, the dude's a warrior, man. Catterall, in my opinion, Catterall had his breakout when he looked that damn good against Josh Taylor. Now, a lot of people thought he won that fight. I'm kind of like this. I'm like, I wouldn't be upset if they gave it to him, but they gave it to Josh Taylor. And then he comes back and has a fight and doesn't look all that good. But here he is against Jorge Linares, who his best days are behind him. Mark, what's your thoughts on this fight, man?
Look, Jorge Linares' best days are behind him, but Jorge Linares' best days have been behind him for the past 6 fights. I mean, the guy is always talked about like that, and then he comes out and puts on a damn good performance, usually on the losing side lately. But I think against a guy like Catterall, he can pull it off. He's still got the technique. It hasn't left. His defense is still there. The things that he has lost tremendously is he gets buzzed a lot more than he used to. He gets buzzed, but I think he still has his technique. I still think he has his defense, and I still think he has the smarts, and I think he's got the wit and what it takes to beat Catterall. I'm taking Linares on this one.
Okay. David?
I was a big fan of Linares for years when he first came out. I remember when he beat, who was it? Oscar. He won a title at 126.
Chololo Larios, Oscar Larios.
Larios.
He was the guy that what is Canelo's trainer's name?
Reynoso.
Eddie Reynoso's first champion. I think that Reynoso fucked that guy's career up. But go ahead.
So I remember that was my first time, but I had read about him even before that on maxboxing.com. Used to be a website called Max Boxing back in the day. And Doug Fisher, who is a really good boxing writer, he's still at the ring, I think. He was covering Edwin Valero and Jorge Linares a lot because he was going to the gym, I think with, what was the name of the trainer? I forget. But that said, I've been a fan of Linares for a while, and he has one of the most puzzling careers. You see a guy with all the talent, but he's just not very durable. His skin cuts, he swells up, he gets buzzed. And Mark, I beg to differ with you. I think he gets buzzed. He has been getting buzzed all his career.
The
And
last 6 fights, pretty a lot.
well, I tell you this: the last time he fought at 140, man, I was there. He was over here at the ballroom in Madison Square Garden, the small venue.
Yeah.
And he fought Pablo Cano, I think, and he got knocked out in the first round, dude. Like
Pablo
140,
Cano
140 is the guys are too big for him there. They're too big, and I don't see this fight going well. I've been bad at making predictions lately, but I don't see this going too well for Linares. You don't get better as you get older. It's very rare that you have that. You know, you have your Bernard Hopkinses and fighters of that ilk, but Linares had trouble getting buzzed in his prime. It's going to be worse even now, and especially at a higher weight. I hope it's a good fight, but I definitely think Catterall's going to take this.
Yeah, I would say Linares is going to put on one heck of a great fight, but eventually after the 5th round, Catterall is going to come out and do what he does, man. And I got Catterall winning this fight. But fellas, let's move it along, man. Showtime. Showtime has been around in the boxing industry for quite a few years, man. And it's crazy to think, rewind 10 years ago for somebody to say, like, hey, do you know in the future there's not going to be any boxing on HBO or Showtime? It doesn't exist. PBC is basically the only ones on Showtime. They had to deal with Fox. That came to an end a while back. And now they're done with Showtime. Showtime is closing its doors December 29th. That's when they officially close their doors. And apparently it's 40 people that are losing their jobs over there with Showtime, man, with the boxing. Mark, what's your thoughts with this, man? PBC has usually kept their doors closed for their fighters, saying like, I don't want you going fighting anywhere else. We stay here. We stay in-house for the most part, man. But what's your thoughts? They still haven't reached a deal. There's talks about Amazon. There's talks about the Zone. And then, no, they don't want them. Right now, it's all just, a bunch of masa going around in circles, man. But what's your thoughts on no more Showtime?
You know what, man? That fucking sucks, man. That sucks, bro. Chinga, that is fucking. See me wait there. Because to me, it was a shock. Me and David have been running around, working really hard, trying to get that channel, off the ground. And then we had the Top Rank ESPN thing. I really hadn't been focusing on it. So to me, I didn't even think, or I hadn't heard anything. I don't know. It just came as a shock because last week or 2 weeks ago, I put out a short of Steven Espinosa bragging about the biggest year in boxing we've had. So I freaked out. I was like, but then I started thinking, well, chinga, they just fired David Faltosin, one of the best boxing announcers from Mexico on ESPN. They fired Max Kellerman. Fox is taking shorts. I guess it's, I don't know where it's going. So it's not just boxing, right? They're not just picking on boxing because boxing has had probably the biggest financial year in its history, man. These are some fucking huge things that we've put together. So it's not a failure. It's got to be going somewhere. I just don't know where it's going to go. And it was disappointing because, man, we, as a kid, me and David, we've talked about it. We've gone through USA Tuesday night fights. Remember, David? Pantamos Chavalones. You're a little bit younger, Cholo, but we went through USA Tuesday, Tuesday night fights. We had some great fights there. I remember ESPN fights. Yeah, we've been through Solo Boxeo. A lot of shit has left us. Worldwide of Sports, ABC. I was young enough to watch fights on that. That's gone. Then HBO. Damn, HBO was hardcore. And I had,
that one stung. That one stung.
Yeah, but I had time for that one to this one just came as a what happened, dude? What do you mean? Like, I have Showtime fights on my wall. These are magazines I've collected since I was a kid, man. I mean, I've collected Ring Magazine, International Boxing Digest since I was a chavalon. Like, this one hurts for me, man. A lot of these. This is Showtime right here. That's Showtime right there. That's Showtime. That's what it means to me, man. It's on my walls. It's in my garage. It means a lot. I'm freaking out a little bit, but maybe it'll go back to public TV, on ABC, maybe, or well, they can't because that's ESPN, and it looks like they're getting out of the game too. I don't know what's gonna happen. I hope it's something good because there's money in it, but I'm getting a little nervous.
Okay.
I'm gonna hug my wall.
David, what's your thoughts on Showtime? And there's been rumors, man. There's been rumors of them getting out of the game for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't know these rumors. Who didn't tell me about this?
I sent you a tweet.
Rumors are just rumors,
But Mark doesn't read. He doesn't read my texts, man. I send him stuff all the time. He doesn't read them. I know he doesn't. I sent you this. I think Rick Glazier was one of the first people who was saying there are rumblings about Showtime, and you could kind of see the writing on the wall when they got bought by Paramount. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. Yeah, Mark, you said that boxing has had one of its best years in recent memory. That's true. But after how long? Like, how long has it taken for PBC to put out these fights and make this amount of noise? Like, they've been in the game since 2015, man. There have been way more down years than up years. And when it comes down to it, the way when you were mentioning like ESPN and Max Kellerman, all of those layoffs,
David Faldo,
yeah. Well, somebody mentioned he got a gig somewhere else on the chat, but yeah, he's like skipping.
Yeah.
but in that sense,
en español.
Yeah, right. But in that sense, like what it comes down to is that a lot of companies are tightening the belt, man. They've been throwing money out, and then the bottom lines they're not finishing in the green, they're finishing in the red. So PBC was one of these companies that started paying all these fighters, which, hey, it's not a bad thing for the fighters, but at the same time, you're messing with the market when you're overpaying for fights that are not worth it, right? You're paying these fighter high prices to fight guys that nobody wants to see. So the viewership isn't where it needed to be, and it wasn't like that for a long time. They had a great 2023, but it's too little, too late. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't enough. So I was aware of Showtime, being out of, or at least talking about being out of the game. And for me, Trucker, the thing I gotta say is it's sad, but I'm reminded of a quote from Plato. I think it was Plato. Yeah, Plato said, everything changes and everything changes, but things stay the same. It's something around those lines. And right. So this has happened before. We've seen it. Boxing was on network TV. Then it moved to cable. And then it moved to pay-per-view. And now it's on streaming services. And there's always going to be some kind of reinvention of it. It's going to be reincarnated somehow. And people keep talking about boxing being dead. Man, I'm 43 years old, and I was hearing that stuff when I was a kid. So boxing's never going to die. It's one of those eternal. It's one of those sports that's deep in our humanity. We've been boxing since the beginning of time with each other. We're going to continue to do it, and there will always be a niche for it. Unfortunately, I would like to see the sport grow, but I mean, there's always a chance for it to do so, man. I mean, it's very popular. When boxing is good, there's no sport like it. There's no sport like it. So we just need to have more good boxing. And I think this is one of those moments where people start to realize, shit, we need to put on good boxing because people aren't just going to tune in for crap, right? They're not going to tune in for a name. They're going to tune in to see a name do something special. Mm-hmm. And that's how we're going to get the sport back to where it needs to be.
Now, just to be clear, no more, not even Showtime pay-per-view?
Nothing.
No, they're out. They're out. They're done. They are out, man. And you know what? Look, I know everybody says it's boxing out of Showtime, and it is, but it's PBC boxing out of Showtime. And PBC did they did a pretty damn good job in making their fighters notable, but outside of that, they didn't do a good job in giving good fights. And then at the end, where people are saying like, "Wow, you know what? It was a good year in boxing." Yeah, but not money wise. I mean, you had pay-per-view fights, man. I mean, like they are not pay-per-view material. You were in bed with both Showtime and Fox. Fox realized what the heck was going on, right? That you want to pay
They,
these guys so much money. Okay, fine. We're going to do a pay per view. And then that's how you're going to go ahead and make your bread. But these are pay per view fights, all that are garbage. You had Luis King Kong Ortiz versus Charles Martin as a pay per view.
yeah.
You had Andy Ruiz versus the Nightmare
I
Areola as a
know.
pay-per-view. You had Andy Ruiz versus King Kong as a pay-per-view. You had Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios as a pay-per-view. You had like these are just trash
Hector Garcia
pay-per-views,
too, right?
man.
That was pay-per-view as well. Tank
With
and Hector Garcia.
against Hector Garcia.
Yeah.
Another one, man. Like these are all trash pay-per-views, man. To just try to turn it around right now and say like, "Hey, look, we got Canelo," and it's too late, man. It's too late. And by the way, I'll go ahead and tell you guys this, man. There's for me personally, there's no need for Showtime. If there's no boxing, there's no need for Showtime for me. I mean, they don't offer anything that I want to watch outside of just boxing. So where do they go? I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, right now there's a lot of talks here and there. Oh man, Amazon. Oh, but wait, Amazon just wants the big pay-per-view fights, and they might go with the zone, and Amazon will just have their pay-per-view fights. We will see what happens, but I don't want to put anything false out there, but what is set in stone is that Showtime Boxing is done. PBC is out of there, and now they're looking for a new partner. But we'll see what happens. But gentlemen, let's go ahead and let's finish it up, man. The fight. I got credentials, so I will be part of media tomorrow. I'll see what I'll do, man. I'll try to go live during the fights to all the chingones that are watching. I'm gonna do everything I possibly can, man, to have a good time and see what I can bring to everybody. But Alexis Rocha versus Giovanna Santillan. Santillan is a silent sleeper because nobody really knows who he is. He's had a couple of fights that people have seen, but at his record, I think he's like 30-0, man, from San Diego. How come this guy's not more notable? And what do you got on this fight tomorrow, David?
Well, I'm definitely I like Rocha a lot. I think Rocha is a very good welterweight, and he just needs to keep proving it by beating opponents like Santillan. So I'm pretty high on him. I was really interested when they were talking about him and Crawford possibly going at it. Now, that's not to say that I think he was going to win, but I was like, hey, this is a live dog in there. And he was one of those fighters who's really active. And the more active they, Golden Boy was doing a good job of keeping him active. He was fighting really often. And I think that's how you get better. You look at Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu's fought what, 3 times in 9 months, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like that's staying active. And when you stay active, you get better at your craft. And they were doing that with Rocha as well. And so I'm pretty high on him. I don't think Santillan is much of a puncher. I'm not too familiar with him. I saw that he has something like a 50% knockout rate. So that doesn't mean that he's not a good fighter and that he doesn't pose a test for Rocha. But I think Rocha right now is kind of on another level.
He
But
has
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
He has 31 wins with 16 knockouts.
Yeah, so roughly 50%.
Yeah. Okay. Mark, what do you make of this fight tomorrow, man?
I'm big on Rocha as well. Early on last year, about December, there was a really big buzz on him because he did have a good 2022, right? We're 2023. He fought very early in the year, or did he fight in December? No, it was early on in the year, maybe in January, February. And he came off a good year in 2022. So early this year, when he came off that win, there was a lot of talk about him. There was, big talk about him maybe even facing Crawford early, like in February. And a lot of it was Oscar talk in December and November, but in January, February, you got other people kind of saying, hey, this is a future possibility for Crawford. But then, everything happened how it panned out this year. And, that doesn't look like it'll happen. But this guy looks like he's something that could be ready to take on people like Boots, maybe at the middle of next year. He should be ready to be taking on all your top guys at 147. He's going to be too much for Santillan. I like Alexis. I like him a lot. He's from a fighting family. He's Ronnie Rios' brother. I'm always big on fighting families because they live it and they're always better knowledgeable than their opponent if they're from a family of fighters. I'm with Rocha.
Whoa, man! No love for Santillan. David, does Santillan have a chance here? The guy has more experience. He's undefeated. He's got 31 wins, man.
Yeah, but I mean, if you
he's not a blue chip athlete. Look, there's a lot of great quarterbacks out there, man. There's a lot of great undefeated high school quarterbacks, state champion quarterbacks. There's only 5, 6 blue chippers. Santillan's not a blue chipper.
Rocha is.
Oh yeah, he's Oscar knows how to pick him, man.
He might be.
Remember who you're talking to. Remember who you're talking to, man.
Come on, man. He's a blue chip athlete, bro.
Oscar can do no wrong.
Look, man, Arch Manning, the third string quarterback for the Longhorns.
Yes.
He's a blue chipper.
Yeah.
But there's other guys that went, 30-0 in high school that are on Division II schools. They're not blue chip athletes, man. And Rocha is a blue chip boxing prospect.
Until he leaves Golden Boy, then he's not a blue chipper.
Well, we don't know. You see what's
then he's a Euro bum. I'm
not a homer. I'm not a homer at all.
All right. Hey, look, man, I'll tell you guys this. I like Rocha. I like Giovanni Santillan as well. Santillan he does not have the star power, man. It sucks, but he doesn't have the star power. It's going to be a pro Rocha crowd, that's for sure. I hope he's not overlooking Giovanni, though. I do give Giovanni a good chance in this fight. I'm talking about a really, really good chance. Am I picking him to win? No. But I'm going like 52% for Rocha. I got it a lot closer, man. I really do. I think people are just focusing on Alexis Rocha and just dismissing Giovanni Santillan, man. But you guys wait and see the fight that he's going to give Rocha, which is going to be good, which should be good. I hope he does give him a good fight. And Rocha, look, I think he's good. I don't think he'll ever be great. And now I hope I'm wrong because I do like the kid. Man. I just don't see anything great in him. I see a lot of good in him. And I think he can have some good fights and give some of the top guys some really good fights. I just don't think he can ever be the guy. So the rumors that were going around not too long ago about him and Crawford, that would have been cool. There was no way, in my opinion, that I would have ever favored Rocha in that fight, though. Not even close, man.
Yeah, earlier when they were discussing that, I mean, in the year, me and David both agreed that he's not ready for that yet. He needs another year. That's why I say, I mean, now after seeing what Crawford did, also, come on. But
Yeah,
I
so
do see him competing with a Boots or somebody like that in a year and a half.
Okay.
In a year and a half.
All right. Okay. So Mark, you got Rocha by what? Stoppage, unanimous decision?
I got Rocha to beat him in 8 rounds. I don't knockout TKO inside of 8 rounds.
Okay. David?
Got a heavy hand.
I think decision. Santillan he's been in there's not anybody.
30 pro fights is 30 pro fights.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't see any crazy named opponents on his resume. He didn't take any really, killers. There aren't any killers on there. At least not from what I've been able to see. But that said, I think he's going to to go the distance. So he'll give Rocha quality rounds, I'm pretty sure. But I think Rocha by decision. I'm trying to find the odds on the fight.
Uh,
And it looks like Vegas has it minus 265 for Rocha.
okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I will be there, man. I cannot wait. I'm very, very excited, man. This is gonna be fun. So for everybody watching, I'll try to see if I can go live. Usually the internet at these events isn't really all that good, man. But I'll see what I can do. Maybe I'll go ahead and broadcast. I'm gonna take a couple of my things here, so I'll see what I can do, man. Everything and anything that I can do, I'm gonna do it, and I'll probably push the bar to do a little bit more. But
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, man, that's
yeah,
dope.
yeah, should be fun, man. Should be fun. But
Hey,
hey,
Ed, I
man,
got one quick question before
yes,
we
sir.
go, man.
Yes, sir.
In honor of Showtime,
Mm.
are there any memorable events from Showtime that stick with you as far as like things like one of your favorite moments?
I will say that the my favorite broadcaster is Moro Ronaldo.
Yeah,
A
really?
lot of people don't mention him,
He's
but he
good.
is definitely my favorite. He used to do wrestling as well,
Yeah,
and now that he's gonna
Canada.
be out of a now that he's gonna be out of a job, come back to wrestling. Or he's just so badass of calling either fights or wrestling. Um, wasn't the Fan Man or was that HBO?
HBO.
That was
Evander,
HBO.
right? That was Riddick Bowe
That was
Evander.
Riddick
No?
Bowe and
Yeah,
Evander. Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
HBO.
That was HBO. It eludes me to which one is Showtime, which one. I mean, the only way that I can really just remember are commentators. That was
Yeah,
it,
that's
man.
a good
But
one.
more Ronaldo, in my opinion, is one of the top dogs, man. But Mark, what's one of your favorite memories of Showtime?
Man, I'll tell you what, the scariest memory. I was telling me and David were coming. We're gonna do a show on it. We're gonna do a show on most memorable moments there, but we were
Mhm.
trying to remember them. And I mentioned to David the bites, the Mike Tyson bite, man. But that
Oh,
wasn't really Showtime. It was,
they were
David pointed
collabing.
out it was Showtime pay per view. It
Yeah,
wasn't Showtime on,
Still
but
count.
still, it was Showtime. The
Yeah.
bite was, man, I remember when I watched the bite and I was watching it live. I honestly like, because Evander was my guy, man. He's right here somewhere. He's right here. Evander was my guy, man. And I remember like when he bit him, and I remember we were like in college, man. Me and Frank we were living in Austin way. We were all bunking up there at St. Edwards. And we were watching the fight chingos of us, man, that we all pitched in, 18 years old in college, now de dinero. And and I remember I really fucking got scared, like my heart neta way. Like, when you go down on a roller coaster, te sientes bien
Yeah.
culero. I swear, like I got scared, like when I saw him pushing Evander, way. Me sentí bien culero. Dije, no mames, güey, lo va a matar. And pues he was from behind. And pues yeah, I was neta. I was like, because, and there was no immediate after YouTube. You had to wait and read. A ver qué pasó. Like, I was really nervous. That's
uh,
my moment. I remember that. And pues chinga, my favorite commentator, El Diamante, bro. Fuck, dude.
He was
Diamante
good
did
too.
a job, man. We were just
Marquez.
that
Marquez.
that that's what always separates it for me. The commentators, man.
Diamante
Definitely
did
the
it in
commentators.
Spanish
Yeah.
Showtime, bro.
You know
Yeah.
who was dope that you don't hear people talk about now anymore is Bobby Ches.
Bobby Ches was good in his.
Bobby Ches was good,
He
and
did
Al
a lot
Bernstein.
of Evander's
Mine was Al
fights.
Bernstein, but Bobby Ches was good, man.
Bobby Ches
He
is
was a really smart
okay.
dude.
Al Bernstein is all. I like Al Bernstein, man. Hey,
He's
fellas,
really
we
nice.
got to wrap it up, man. We
Yeah.
got to get out of here.
No, that's
But
okay, man.
hey,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
yeah, you guys go check out my boys David and Mark on Putazos y Pendejadas. I'll leave the link pinned in the comment section. You guys just hit that link, take you guys to their channel, man. And you guys stay tuned for tomorrow. I will be live at the fights, and I'm gonna do everything that I could possibly do, man. But for that, for my boy David and Mark from Putazos y Pendejadas, Cholo Choque, Los Tres Cingones Boxing. Catch you guys on next round.